Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, everybody, to Shakespeare. We continue our discussion of Hamlet. Today we have two scenes, two very important scenes, because we start, in a sense, we start the real events of the play. If scenes one, in two, three, and four in Act One, we're introducing the play, the characters, the events. Act One, Scene Four, is where things happen, where things get started. We have Hamlet, who meets the who meets what is thought to be his father's ghost. He hears to the ghost. We listen to the ghost talk. We know something about it, its nature. I will discuss this in a bit. And we come to some sort of understanding about Hamlet's character and what he needs to do next, something the whole play is based on the commandment or the recommendation or the command by what happens to the ghost. And then there is a short scene, but also equally probably important, because it shows Hamlet developing, changing in a way. Okay, when we start scene 5 from Act 1, you need to understand that Shakespeare did not divide his plays into acts and scenes. Okay, it was later critics who did this. The conventional division was 5 acts, where Act 3 includes the climax, the complication, the most important thing, and then it leads from there, leads to the ending of the play. Usually, a scene, some people will talk a lot about scenes. It's not very important to us, but usually when the play moves from one scene to the other, we have a new setting, a new time, usually a new place, a new place, and usually a new time, with new characters who are different from the characters, totally different from the characters in the previous scene. So some plays might consider this to be a continuation of scene 4, because in scene 4 we have Hamlet, Horatio, and Marcellus talking about the ghost and waiting for the ghost. And then when the ghost appears, Hamlet goes to talk to it, because it beckons, it keeps calling for, gesturing, signaling for Hamlet to come. So some people will still consider this to be part of scene 4, but in our text here, we follow our text, we have a new scene. And when they are all alone, Hamlet talks to the ghost directly, and for the first time, the ghost speaks. And it is used. They used to believe in the past that the ghost only speaks to people it comes to. Here, Hamlet, and Hamlet wants to know what message this ghost is bringing, whether this is from heaven or from hell. So mark me, I will. See, he's impatient. I will. Come on, go on. My hour is almost come. Remember, upon dawn, when the cock crows, the ghosts disappear, because this is the time Jesus was born. But this is, in a sense, interesting, because it's just been 12. It just struck 12. Remember when they first met, they said it's 12. No, still 12, something to 12. And if the dawn is at 3, then there is, like 3 hours, and 3 hours is a lot of time to speak and talk. But that's very interesting. When my sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. In a way, the ghost says, I am living in tormenting flames, in fire, in hellfire. I'm being tortured. And Hamlet, being kind-hearted and cool and kind and soft, says, alas, poor ghost, I pity you. Oh my God. Pity me not. That's the reply. Don't pity me, but lend me thy serious hearing, not hearing or ears, thy serious hearing, and you pay special, careful attention to me, to what I'm saying. And again, remember the word ear, ears, hear, and hearing. These words are recurrent because there is actual poisoning and there is, the metaphorical poisoning here. To what I shall unfold. ما سأصفح عنه. Speak. I am bound to hear. So, art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear? Will you revenge? What? Revenge what? What's going on? Revenge what? And then the we continue the dialogue, the encounter between them, both of them. But before we do that, I want you to look at this stage. This is Shakespeare's theater. This is how it looked like. Most stages during Shakespeare's time. Here we have, this is the ground where the poor people would, okay, I'll do something here. Where usually, what is this? Where usually people, poor people, ordinary people stand here in this red area here. They pay a couple of pennies and they would be standing here very close to the stage, very close to the oath, to the actors. And rich people would be standing up or sitting. Look, this is where probably some people, especially, royal family, rich people, high class, the king, the queen would be sitting among the audiences, above the audiences. A little bit compared to the masses, the poor people, a little bit farther away, up, farther away from this. And that's why for many people, the play drama was the art of the masses, of the people. It was very closer to the ordinary people. It was something interesting because the people here standing would be talking directly to the actors, pulling them, probably telling them what to say, making fun of them, trying to confuse them maybe. And that is why for many people, the rich people were, like, were dissatisfied with this setting. That's why King James the First later on had his own stage and drama inside the palace, the masks, if you still remember, where rich people would be playing, written to be performed once in the palace. Anyway, so here there is the door here. I'll send you this. Okay, I can't see the cursor. Come on, come on. Okay, if you can see it still, there is the door at the back where actors can come on stage. There is the main stage here. There is also the upper stage where plays like Romeo and Juliet, where Juliet would be on the window up above on the balcony, and they would be talking. So if you notice here, there is something called trap door. Trap door where there is a pit, there is cellarage, they like under the stage. The cellarage, the trapdoor, would be usually used for Shakespeare and others for when there are ghosts. So they appear out of nowhere from the ground, and they would be either moving here on something, on a device, or moving sometimes from one place to place to give the impression that they are ghosts, in addition to the fact that people talk to them as if they are ghosts, and in addition to how they would be wearing and how they would be talking as ghosts rather than as human beings. So this is very interesting. So Shakespeare's plays that include the ghost, like Macbeth. There is a ghost in Macbeth. There's a ghost, I guess, in Julius Caesar. It would be appear from below, from the pit, and sometimes when the ghost is there, but we can hear only the voice. The actor would be speaking from the pit, from down. So there's the ghost there because we'll see in this scene, remember me, something like this. It will be talking from below. And in a sense, this is very interesting. Okay, come. Okay. So bringing the ghost was very interesting. Was some kind of a dramatic device that is also number one interesting and also challenging because it wasn't easy for the actor to come out and for the audience to imagine. Okay. Now this is what I'm talking about here. They had some kind of a theatrical device, something probably to move him like a cart, and to make it easy for the ghost to appear and to emerge and disappear. Something called the pit or the trap door. We just saw here the trap door. So it opens and it gets out. Or if they didn't have, some theaters didn't have the trap door like this one, they would be moving quickly from one place to the other. So it gives the impression that this is a ghost moving. Now, what is Shakespeare doing here is some of the most interesting things to bring together two religious sects. Remember, it was only Catholic, the Catholic Church, the Pope, the Vatican. The Pope of the Vatican was in charge of the whole the whole Europe until King Henry VIII wanted to divorce his wife because he succeeded his brother, and then he had to marry his brother's sister, and then later on, I remember the connection between Hamlet and Hamlet. In Hamlet, we have the king dying and his brother marrying his sister. There was some kind of criticism from Shakespeare. The Catholics believed in spirits, believed in ghosts, but the Protestants did not. So when King Henry VIII stopped, he was excommunicated. He became in charge, the head of the English church, the Protestant، عشان هي في نوع من البروتستنج، كنوع من الاحتجاج على الكاثوليسيزم. يعتبروا الكاثوليك انهم يعني دقه قديمه. They believed in superstitions, they believed in ghosts. But the Protestants were more modern, more up to date, more logical, more scientific in a sense. Shakespeare was using both some Catholic beliefs like the ghost, because the Catholics believed in the ghost, and he also used some Protestant beliefs. That's why there is Horatio, probably Hamlet also, who went to school, to university of Wittenberg, which was the center of Protestant thought at that time and education. So there are both opinions here. Very interesting. It shows how Shakespeare was not religious, was not either or. He was probably trying to bring both opinions, both thoughts together. Okay. And then when the ghost speaks, it speaks in this profound, beautiful, poetic language. It talks to Hamlet, and it tells Hamlet what exactly happened and why the ghost is being tortured. We'll see this. So first thing, I am thy father's spirit. I am your father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, for the day confined to fast in fires. I'm being tortured till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. The belief here, which is also a Catholic belief, is that you have to confess if you want to go to heaven, to paradise. Before you die, you need to confess. And the worst kind of death is when somebody dies suddenly, because if you die suddenly without confessing without regretting, without atoning for your sins and crimes, you have to spend time in purgatory. Purgatory اللي هي زي البرزخ يعني, between heaven and hellfire. where you don't just spend the days, you have to be tortured until your crimes are burnt and purged away. حتى تحرق الذنوب وتطهر. And this is one reason why we get angry sometimes. He died untimely. That's why the ghost is angry. I am being tortured because I died before I confess. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house. And this is paradoxical in a sense. It tells Hamlet that I'm being tortured, I'm suffering, I am in fire, I am in hell, but I can't tell you what kind of suffering and pain I am in. So I'm just giving you the general idea. I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul. Wow. يعني لو قد أحكي لك حكاية يعني أخف كلمة فيها the lightest word أهون كلمة فيها would harrow thy soul. It will terrorize your soul and freeze thy young blood. وتجمد الدم في عروقك. Make thy eyes like stars start from their spheres. Your eyes will be like stars moving. Thy knotted and combined locks to part. Your hair will part, and each particular hair to stand on end. Some people think this is an expression coined by Shakespeare. Hair to stand on end. لما أقول لك his hair stood on end يعني وقف شعره غالبا من الخوف. Like quills upon the fretful palpatine. Palpatine هي الجنفذ زي شعر الجنفذ. Yes, beautiful image here. But at the same time, he's telling him, I will not tell you anything about my suffering. But if I tell you anything, the slightest word, the lightest word, will harrow up thy soul, will freeze the young blood, will make your eyes like stars start from their spheres, and thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair to stand on end like quills upon the fretful turpentine. Wow. Impressive. And he continues, and then Harry, what's his name? Hamlet, like we would be reacting. Oh God. Because this is part of if thou didst, because the message here, but this eternal blazon must not be to ears. Again, look at the word ear. To ears of flesh and blood, lest, oh, lest, if thou didst ever thy father love. بس انك بتحب ابوك بس. We already know this. It's interesting that the ghost doesn't know, but we know that Hamlet loved his father, was loyal to his father. Remember? Everybody was celebrating and happy except Hamlet. He was in black and mourning. Oh God. And then the message, revenge his foul and most unnatural murder. انتقم. Look at the imperative here. His foul and most, all murders are foul and unnatural. But this one, because this is the king, remember the chain of being, the king being on top, being the most important thing. Killing the king means destroying the balance of the whole universe, not only England or Denmark. And Hamlet, murder, murder, most foul, and as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural. Foul, strange, unnatural, because it's the king, because it's my brother, because I was asleep, because I didn't repent my sins, I didn't confess, and because he became the king, and because he remarried my own wife. It's foul, most unnatural. I'll give you a quiz here, just not for marks, just for something. And please, if you read, don't give me the answer. If you read the text or if you looked at the scene, don't tell me the answer. Just I want people to guess. So the scene here again, the ghost says, Hamlet's father's ghost says, revenge, his foul and most unnatural murder. Murder? Murder most foul. يعني بمعنى شنيعة أشنع جريمة. And in the best it is يعني أفضل ما يقال عنها أخف أهون ما يقال عنها أنها جريمة شنيعة. But this most foul, strange, unnatural. And Hamlet tells him, tell me, haste me to know it. Tell me what happened. Haste quickly. That I, with wings as swift as فراغ or the thoughts of فراغ may sweep to revenge. احكي لي خبرني. So as he uses a beautiful simile here, but we don't know what kind of simile he is using. With wings, or as swift as, or thoughts of may sweep to my revenge. I want you to guess what Hamlet says here. As swift as what? And thoughts of what? Don't give me the answer. Raise your hand or type your guess. Think about it. So Hamlet tells him, okay, quickly, tell me the story. Because with wings as swift, swift means fast, quick. As fast as, or the thoughts of what? May sweep to my revenge. I'm emphasizing this, Farah. If you read this, don't guess. And everybody else, you can type your guess. What
No,
is
I
the
didn't
first
read
or the
it.
second? First
I
or the
just
second thought?
as thunder, maybe. The first is
As swift as?
thunder,
What's that?
maybe.
As swift as? I can't hear you. Arid says, as swift as wind, good thinking. Farah, as swift as thunder, excellent. Or lightning, excellent. Riwa. But thoughts of what? What kind of thought? Thoughts. As swift as light, excellent thinking. What like very good. We're done with as swift as. Logically, that's correct. As swift as thunder, lightning, wind. But thoughts of what? What kind of thoughts do you need
Revenge?
for revenge? Of course. Thank you. Thoughts of revenge. What else? Of anger.
Paying back?
Paying back. Anger, Ari says. Very good. Of love. Of hate. How can this be thoughts of love, Diana? Noor says thoughts of hate. Yeah, logically, yes. How can this be thoughts of love? It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. Actually, this is what Hamlet really says. So yeah, right. I hope you just guessed this, Noor. Haste me to know it that I, with wings as swift as meditation. What's meditation? You know?
علاج.
No, تأمل التفكر.
تأمل.
And this is paradoxical because التأمل, meditation, thinking is
It
actually
takes time.
it takes time. You know what is he doing? He's meditating. He's thinking about it. He's meditating. And yes, he doesn't say thoughts of revenge or anger or hate. He says thoughts of love. May I sweep to my revenge. Okay, this is not the response of somebody who can take revenge, who will be, doing revenge. This is somebody who knows nothing about fighting, about revenge, about killing. And I love what the ghost says here. I find thee apt. يعني زي ما بقول لك ما شاء الله عليك. ما شاء الله عليك. Clearly the ghost feels kind of disappointed. Because if you want to take revenge, you don't say you don't use this interesting simile as swift as meditation, and you don't talk about thoughts of love because this includes killing and death. It's hatred. Revenge is all about hatred, about paying back. I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that rots itself in ease in the leaf wharf. Now, Hamlet, here, look at the word here. It is given out that sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me. The story, the narrative, the news is that I was asleep in my orchard and a serpent, a snake stung me. So the whole ear of Denmark is by a forged process of my death, rankly abused. The whole of Denmark is abused by the fake news of my death. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent, serpent al-af'a, that did sting me, sting thy father's life, now wears his crown. Oh, I love this expression. أن الأفعى التي لدغت والدك أباك تجلس الآن على العرش. So the first serpent here is a real serpent, a real snake. But the second serpent is a symbol for Claudius, for the new king. The serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown. And Hamlet says one of the beautiful lines. Oh my prophetic soul. يعني زي ما بيقولوا المصريين كنت هقولها كنت عارف كنت حاسس prophetic يعني من prophet يعني أنا تنبأت I felt some foul space رغم إنه in the first when we saw him in scene 2 he did not expect he hated the king he hated that the king Claudius is telling him my son he hated that he married his mother very quickly but there was no expectation about the king killing the king his father. Oh my prophetic soul. See, I love using this all the time when you say something and later on a month later 2 months later ولا تقول لصاحبتك هذا هيجي في الامتحان and then it's there in the exam you say oh my prophetic soul my uncle but soft methinks I sent the morning air. طبعا الآن لاحظ كيف how time passes this. I remember when I was in London in 2006, one British student was doing his master's thesis on time scheme in Othello, how time moves in the play, how Shakespeare highlights the passing of time. So the first in scene 4 it was what was the time, and then somebody said it struck 12, and somebody said no, it's not, and then the king here says the scent of morning air أشتم رائحة الصباح. فكأنه يعني في كل اللي حدث هذا اللي في 10 دقائق كأنه يعني مر علينا ساعتين. This is how we need to imagine the drama going on. And then he tells the whole story. You can read this later on, the type of poison, how he put the poison and what the poison did to him, to his ear. And this continues the story. And look at that again, the vivid, the graphic description. Heartbreaking. He keeps this description with all my imperfections. He's angry that he was killed. He was angry that he was killed before confessing, before purging his own sins, for atoning يكفر عن سيئاته. Oh horrible, most horrible. If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. If you are a human being, if you are a man, you can't bear this, Hamlet. Because he killed me, he married my wife. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest, because even the marriage is illegal. But however thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Avenge me, kill the king, but don't kill your mother. Leave her to heaven, اتركها للسماء. Wow. And to those thorns that in her bosom lodge, to prick and sting her. خلي ضميرها يأنبها. To prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. Bye-bye. Farewell. The glow worm shows the martin to be near. And against, I don't know what this word is, to pale his unaffected fire. Adieu, adieu, Hamlet, remember me. وداعا, وداعا, Hamlet, تذكرني. And again, the word remember, the word memorize, repeated so many times. So yeah, interesting. We have here a father who is a king. It shows some kind of sadness and sorrow, but also gentleness, love, but there is also dignity and authority when it states that I am thy father's spirit. You need to avenge me. He's giving them orders, and this is confusing. He's acting like a god. Kill this, don't kill that, because it can't be. It's being punished and in hellfire, in purgatory, until the sins of the soul are burnt away. The ghost cannot tell Hamlet exactly what's going on, but it tells him that I am being tortured because you can't bear or understand what happened. It's very interesting, like we saw with Polonius, although we'll talk about the relationship in a bit. Hamlet most of the time is speechless. It, it reminds us of how little Ophelia spoke when her father was talking to her. And when the ghost of Hamlet's father is talking, Hamlet also talks comparatively little, although the relationship is a little bit different. There is love here, there's warmth, there's trust, unlike that relationship. And we have the story here of the king being poisoned, literally poisoned. So there is the ear, the literal poisoning. But if you think about it, the ghost is also poisoning Hamlet's ear and heart with thoughts of revenge, with hatred, with killing, with murder, asking Hamlet, telling him literally, if you are a human, if you love me, you have to take revenge. And this is really hard, very tough. Remember, Hamlet is not a soldier. He's not a fighter. He knows fighting, but he's a student. He's a young person full of life. And what happens is, I'll give
Yes,
you
but
time. I'll give.
sorry, I
No, I give you time to talk a little bit. Just I'll finish in a bit. So what happens here is that Hamlet, the ghost leaves physically, and then when his two friends Horatio and Marcellus come looking for him, he doesn't want to tell them what happened. He has no trouble. Hamlet promises the king, okay, I will remember thee. I'm taking this, I'll do this. So Hamlet sounds passionate, loving, but at the same time impulsive. But remember, he is passionate, he's impulsive, يعني he acts on impulse. دغري ردات فعله سريعة يعني. But remember, Hamlet is thoughtful. He's a man of thinking, a man of learning, of education, of studying. So he's also thoughtful, which could mean revenge is not a good and easy thing for him, an easy job to do. And this is the promise, the memory here. I love this part about this interaction about remember me, remember me. Okay. Uh, before there's something here I wanted to talk about. If you look at this, before I go back to up to this, Hamlet starts his second soliloquy. So first soliloquy, scene 2, second soliloquy, scene 5, all in Act 1. I want you to read, to have a look, a glance at this. I highlighted some of the issues, but let me just, I think from the first line to line 100, do you notice something? What do you notice? What things could attract your attention? What is he talking about? What expression, what sentence, what phrase do you find appealing, interesting? And the repetition of remember the memory. Farah?
the repeat of oh. For example, he said oh, all you, oh earth, oh fight, and like 5 times, almost, oh villain, villain,
Okay.
smiling.
And again, this is
So
this.
he's
Remember,
suffering a lot.
thank you very much. Oh, 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 fire, oh, earth, oh. There's a lot of oh inside, a lot of pain, a lot of agony there. Thank you. This is a man suffering. And the ghost is not giving him answers. The ghost is complicating it for him. Ahmad?
Yes, too many exclamation marks and commas.
Okay.
About 14 commas and about 7 exclamation marks.
Okay, thank you, Ahmad. There is a lot of exclamation marks showing strong emotions. You know, you don't in academic writing, in formal communication, you don't use exclamation marks because they show strong emotions. And Ahmad said something about commas. What are commas related to here? Somebody, can somebody tell us why there are many commas?
Pauses. Like he
Pauses. What
pauses.
else? So there is thinking. There is disruption here. He's meditating. He's thinking. But here the commas.
Maybe
Personifying.
reflecting.
Thank me. Who said? Oh yeah, there is a personification. هذا بنسميه apostrophe. When you talk to something that is inanimate. When you talk to an object. Oh moon, أيها القمر. Oh rose, thou art sick. You are personifying this object because you want somebody to talk to. You want a friend, a very close friend to talk to. So there is a lot of apostrophes here, personifying objects. Okay, Mariam, what else?
Also, he mentions the globe and this
Okay,
distracted
what
globe.
what about the globe?
The globe is the theater of Shakespeare, and he he mentions the globe as his mind. His mind is a distracted globe.
Mhm. Okay, so what do you call this?
Yeah, it's a pun. Like
It's a pun. Okay, excellent. When you play, when one word has two meanings, two different meanings, it's a pun. He's punning on the word globe. And this is probably the most interesting pun in all of Shakespeare. I love this. Shakespeare's drama theater was called the Globe, Al-Alam. And at this time, if you're reading this, if you're following with me, if you feel confused when you read Hamlet, it's okay, it's natural. Don't run away. Shakespeare makes us feel this. He wants us to feel this. So we are distracted. Oh my God. Killing the king. Oh my God, a ghost. Do I originally believe in ghosts? Okay, I want to suspend my disbelief. What's going on? What is Hamlet going to do? Why is Hamlet saying as swift as meditation or thoughts of love? What kind of reply is that? Why is Hamlet very quickly believing the ghost, saying, okay, I will kill my uncle and spare my mother?
Because he's
We,
a man of
we,
thinking.
we,
He's a student.
yeah, but we don't feel certain about anything 100%. We have so many thoughts to, things to think about. So we are distracted. As audience, we are distracted. And the whole world now is talking about Hamlet and, examining, is he mad? Is he pretending to be mad? Why did he do this? Why didn't he take revenge very quickly? Why is the ghost this? Do we believe in ghosts? What about the ghost? What about this? What about that? There's so many things to talk about. So the audience are distracted. And Shakespeare predicted, this is a prophetic soul of Shakespeare, of Hamlet, predicting the whole world, not only people watching the play in the globe, but also the whole world to be distracted, to be confused. Beautiful pun. I love this pun. So when he talks about remembering, he gives his promise, I remember thee. And he uses the same exact word, remember thee, I will remember thee. Remember, in scene 2, Hamlet was criticized for remembering his father. He didn't forget his father. And he says, if you love me, if you love thy father, probably the ghost doesn't know how much Hamlet loves him. He is the only one that remembers. And he says later on, remember thee, I, thou, poor ghost. while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. In this distracted globe. And thank you, Mariam. It could possibly also mean this distracted globe, my head. So the theater, the world, or my head. Three fascinating things. Yes, Shakespeare is punning on the word globe, which is the name of the theater in which the play was being performed. And now the second soliloquy, I'll go through it very quickly and do some comment. I'll give you time to speak, everyone. Oh, all you host of heaven, oh earth, what else? كان بقول يعني كل مصائب الدنيا علي. My father dead, my mom married very quickly. I lost the crown, but he still doesn't mention that he lost the crown. And now a ghost and telling me to take revenge. So Hamlet seemed very certain and sure about taking revenge. Okay, I'll do it, my father. But now he's changing. He's hesitating. And shall I couple hell off? I hold my heart. تريث تريث يا قلبي. And you, my sinews, grow not instant old, but bear my stiffly up. Remember thee, I, thou poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee, yeah. From the table of my memory, I'll wipe away all trivial records, all sources of books, all forms, all pleasures past. I'll erase everything from my memory. I'll never remember anything except this goal, this objective of taking revenge. That youth and observation copied there, and thy commandment. The use of the word commandment is also religious. The 10 commandments, that's Sayyidina Musa, the 10 commandments. And thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven, wa Rabbi sama. Oh, most pernicious woman, talking about his mom, describing her as pernicious, as evil for what she did. And look at how he talks about his uncle. Oh, villain, villain, smiling, damned villain. You pretend to be a good man. You pretend to smile, to talk to me and smile to me. But in reality, you are a villain, a damned villain. My table's meat, it is I. Sit it down, that one may smile and be a villain. A beautiful line here. You could smile and still be an enemy, an evil person. At least I am sure it may be so in Denmark. In Denmark, someone could smile and be a villain. So uncle, there you are. طيب يا عمي بسيطة. Now to my word, it is, now to the word that I want to remember. It is adieu, adieu, remember me. The last thing that the ghost said, adieu, adieu, remember me. I have sworn to it. I've sworn to take revenge, to remember. So Hamlet's soliloquy shows anger, excitement, and resolution. Resolution معنى مش حل، معنى إصرار. To take revenge. He calls upon the whole world to hear his witness. He condemns Claudius. He wants to take revenge. He describes his mother as pernicious and Claudius as a smiling villain. He bids farewell to his father's ghost and he swears to take revenge. When finally Horatio and Marcellus come and find him, he describes the ghost as an honest ghost, telling the truth. And Horatio, and he doesn't want to tell them what exactly happened until they swear. And they were like, swear to what? Why? And when Hamlet asks them to swear by my sword, أَتَنْ تُقْسِمُوا عَلَى سَيْفِي, the ghost is not on the stage. Where is the ghost now? خلاص, ghost, wherever it is. Like in في المسرحية فعليا, the ghost is underneath in the cellarage, in the pit. So the sound says, swear. If you watch this on YouTube, swear. And Hamlet makes fun of it. He goes back to using puns and making jokes. Then we will shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen. يعني لأنه هو تحتيه بالضبط، فبقول لك احنا خلينا نتحرك في مكان تاني. and lay our hands again upon my sword, never to speak of this that you have heard. Swear by my sword. And the ghost, swear. Well said, old mole. فدايركتلي اذا عمركم اتفرجتوا على مسرحيه مصريه مثلا بيكون when the actor talks to the camera directly to the audience, it's the most interesting thing, a very funny thing. كان زمان في مسرحيه اسمها الصعايده وصلوا. I remember this happening, like it happened just yesterday. When تكون على المسرحيه on the stage في حاجه هيك مرتفعه where somebody is hiding below, and if the actor forgets the text, the line, gives them the line exactly. فكان احمد بدير بيمثل he took the paper out from this man's hand and he threw them away in a very symbolic, كانه بيقول له ما تلجمنيش, I want to say I want to be free. So there is somebody beneath here. فبقول عنه old mole زي الخلون لانه عايش تحت الارض. Can't work I the earth so fast. خليني يا زلمه اكمل شغلي, كان something like this. A worthy pioneer once more remove good friends. And he does this again. Where does it happen again? I'll just go back. So he making fun of this situation when he says swear. Ha ha boy, says thou so? Art thou there? True penny? Come on, you hear this fellow on the cellarage. يلا يا جماعة, الشاب اللي تحت صوته هيك حرفيا كان بيقول swear, consent to swear. You hear this fellow in the cellarage. الزلمة اللي تحت في البودروم هيكونوا سامعين صوته. I'm sure the audiences would have laughed a lot at this interesting interaction, this beautiful interaction, which again mixes comedy, humor with death, with tragedy. Traditionally, tragedy was tragedy and comedy was comedy. They were not supposed to be mixed, but Shakespeare does a lot of mixing. So what happens here is that he tells them the story, and Hamlet uses a very important expression here. He tells them, I will pretend to be mad. Here, line 173 or something, to put an antic disposition. This is interpreted by many critics as, listen, my uncle killed my father. Don't tell anybody. I will pretend to be mad, to be insane. I will feign madness. I will put an antic disposition. I'll pretend to be mad. فبقول لهم that you at such time seeing me never shall with arms encircled thus, or this, if you see me shaking my head or saying well we know we could, if he pretends, he starts the act of being a mad person. So swear, if you see me doing this, if you see me talk nonsense, act nonsense, don't tell the secret, don't say anything about this. And then at the beginning, he didn't want to reveal the secret, or he wanted to tease his friends until Horatio told him to come out, come of it, come on, stop using wild and whirling words. What are you talking about? What are you doing? He insists that it is an honest ghost. So there is again the secret, and he tells them, I will pretend to act crazy, to feign madness. احفظوا العبارة هذه من أشهر العبارات when people use to talk about Hamlet. To feign, شوفوا feign, the spelling here, silent G, feign madness. To pretend to be mad, to assume to be mad, to pretend some kind of madness. He actually starts behaving like a mad person by using a lot of puns and a lot of jokes here, and they swear to silence. And he makes fun of the boy, the man, the actor in the cellarage who keeps saying swear, swear. They swear not once, 3 times. In essence, when Hamlet said as swift as thoughts of meditation, or as swift as meditation or thoughts of love, we had an idea about what kind of person he is. The mission is too much for him. Okay, the revenge is not an easy thing for a man like Hamlet, a man of thoughts like Hamlet. He at the beginning seemed very anxious. He wants to do this. because remember, killing the king is upsetting the balance of the whole, not only the state, but the whole world. And remember, killing a king means the destruction of the whole society. I love this expression here. The unnatural demise of King Hamlet, old Hamlet, bodes evil for the entire society. يعني بشير أو يعني نذير شؤم، نذير شر لكل المجتمع. So Hamlet reminds himself that the world, the cosmos itself, must be set right. Hamlet's future at this moment is all altered, changed altogether, because he's now dedicating everything not to education or learning or being the prince or preparing himself to be the king, but to death and destruction. Something he describes as the cursed spite, غل, ملعون. And this is the play on words. And in an interesting ending conclusion to this scene, Hamlet promises that he was born to set it right. Rest, rest, perturbed spirit. استريحي, استريحي أيها النفس المضطربة. So, gentlemen, he talks to his friends. With all my life, look, the language is different now. It's not about death and damnation and revenge and killing and evil. It's all about love. It's all about softness, about friendship. This is the Hamlet we know. This is the Hamlet that Shakespeare created, invented. And so poor a man as Hamlet is may do to express his love and friending to you, God willing, shall not lack. Let us go in together and still your fingers on your lips. يعني I pray. أتمنى عليكم أن تحافظوا على السر. Beautiful. The time is out of joint. Oh cursed spite. You know spite, spite أنا غل حقد ضغينة. Oh cursed spite. A beautiful pun here. The time is out of joint, O cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. أنا ولدت لكي أضع الأمور في نصابها أصحح الخطأ. I think this whole mission is too much for Hamlet, too big for Hamlet. Nay, come, let's go together. So if you want, I'll give you time on Facebook to comment on this expression, this extract. I was born to set it right. Can he do the job? Is Hamlet the man to do this job? Can he do it? Is he born? Is he really born? Is this too much for him? And I think there isn't enough time to do scene 1 from Act 2. So I'll stop here and listen to your comments and suggestions or questions in 5 minutes or so. Yalla, somebody. Many of you wanted to say something. If you don't want to say something, I can start scene 1, Act 2. Okay, Yara.
When Hamlet said to the ghost that swings of thoughtness, meditation, and love, like it is expected from him. Like we know from the beginning about Hamlet, about him being a nice person, someone who hates hatred and all of that. So even if though the ghost told him all the details of the death, and he was like he wants death and revenge so that he could rest in peace, but like it was expected from Hamlet to like reply this reply. I didn't like, I was a bit shocked, yes, but also expected it from Hamlet.
That's because in scene 2 we understood him to be the poetic. He's a poet. He's a prince. He's a man of meditation, of love. He's a good friend. He's friendly. He's not arrogant. You know, he's not behaving like an elite person. He is a university student. He has the time. At that time, people who were royal family, they were, enjoying life, having fun with women and drinking and partying and celebrating. But Hamlet had the time to go to university to study. He's a man of education and knowledge and learning and poetry and words. Yes, and that's why, and his father, the ghost of his father knows this. I see thee apt mashallah عليك يعني. Yeah, good. Thank you for the answer, for giving me the wrong answer to the wrong task, to the wrong mission. Wala?
Yes, I want to comment on like I don't know, but I think that like the ghost is basically like a catalyst, and I believe that Hamlet does not really believe him. Like when the ghost talked to him, like the command has had two sections. Basically, the first one when he asked him not to, he asked him to kill Claudius, and the second section was like not just like to leave your mother. However, Hamlet did not listen to that, and we will see that in Act 2. Another thing is that the ghost told him like not pity him and not call him poor. However, in Hamlet's soliloquy, he says, "Oh, thou poor ghost," or something like that. So I believe like Hamlet just wanted to hear that, like he just wanted to hear this thing so that he'd act upon it, or he'd do
Oh,
something against
very,
his uncle because
very,
he hates him.
very interesting things. Yeah, there are two commandments here. Number one, kill, don't kill. But I don't think Hamlet doesn't believe the ghost. Maybe deep in his heart, he does. He gives his promise. He swears. He gives
Yeah,
his
like he
word.
just wanted to hear it. He
And
just wanted to act upon.
and and
He
and
just
when Horatio and Marcellus asked him about the ghost, he said the ghost is honest. Honest in the sense that it is telling the truth. Maybe in the heat of the moment زي ما بيقولوا يعني في حم الكلام, in the heat of the moment, because Hamlet hated his uncle for being his uncle, for pretending to be a good father, an alternative father, for marrying his mother, for marrying very quickly, soon, in a little month, etc. So he wanted somebody to tell them, kill your uncle. He found it fun, very, but we'll see how things change
yeah.
later on. Reem?
Yes, I wanted to say that I think Hamlet believes that this job comes too heavy upon him. This comes through clearly when he overuses the words of that showing us that he is a student. He is a man of education. I think he was thinking like from where all that comes to my head. I was only a student and now I'm supposed to kill. So he uses a lot of education words like table, brain, and others. And I think he's too hesitant about killing or not killing. If he was sure about that, okay, I'm going to revenge my father and kill my uncle, he would use full stops instead of too many question marks and too many exclamation marks.
Okay,
So yeah, this
I think in
say.
his, that's okay, interesting. In his soliloquy, he was in his reply to his father, he was determined 100%. In the soliloquy, I think that the determination, the resolution was still there. He wants to kill his uncle. He says here, so uncle, there you are. Mash, mash, basira. Now to my word, adieu, adieu. I remember. So far, he is determined. There's determination. But later on, after the dialogue between Horatio, Hamlet, and then the swearing and everything, probably there's something that popped into his mind. Maybe he changed, we're not certain, we'll see later on, a little bit. And this change is there in his language. So I agree. He first used words that refer to education and learning, the books and the brain, and things related to something a university student has, not a murderer, a killer, an assassin, or a soldier. And later on, he ends the whole scene using words of love, of friendship, of caring. You know. So yeah, probably he's not the right man
Yeah.
for the job. Noor, you wanted to say something, and then we finish with Mariam.
Yes, okay. I just want to comment on the soliloquy. I think the words remember and memory refers to many things, like hate and make a revenge.
Like hate and
Make a revenge.
yeah, but listen, as Palestinians, we know that memory is significant. If you forget, you betray your country and your people and your parents and grandparents and ancestors. So it is important to remember. But what do you remember? Do you remember who you are, your identity, your sense of identity, sense of belonging? Do you remember to be better, to improve, to develop, to change for the better? Or do you only remember evil and sins? So you want to crime, so you want to take revenge, to avenge somebody's death. It depends. It depends. But here Hamlet is ordered to remember to kill. Remember to kill. And remember, in Christianity, thou shalt not kill, the commandments. You shouldn't kill. And imagine somebody planning to kill the king himself. Not an easy job, even if this king is a murderer. Mariam?
Okay, I want to say that I start to think that there is no strong relationship between Hamlet and his father. They are unlike, which is weird as a father and his son. Hamlet is a prince, so he's supposed to be a fighter. He's supposed to be a brave one. Especially they were in a dangerous period, in a war period at that time. Also, the ghost told Hamlet to remember him at the end, as if he is doubting that Hamlet, his own son, would forget him and forget the revenge.
Okay. That is also interesting. Remember, Hamlet, yes, a prince must have at least some training in fighting and fencing. We'll see this later. But he's not a pure soldier. He's not a pure fighter. He's more of a student, a learner, a man of knowledge, of words, of poetry, rather than a man of killing and death and battles and fighting and war. And the other thing is that uh, uh, Hamlet did not forget his father. He actually was the only. He was criticized by his uncle. Why is it the clouds still hang on you? His uncle told him. Why does it seem with you? His mom said when he was very angry. Why do you accuse me, mom, of he said, seems, I know not seems, madam. I don't pretend. I do feel for my dad. And we've seen his first soliloquy was he was devastated. He was a man who lost his loving father. But sadly, and this is the paradox here, the father, there is a good connection, a good relationship between both of them. They love each other. But why would a father tell his son to go kill somebody? Isn't that dangerous? Is this a sign of love? Isn't this a sign of selfishness? He cares more about his own revenge. The revenge is not going to do anything for the king. He will still suffer in purgatory. So we are distracted. We are in a
Maybe this is the evil spirit.
distracted globe. I'll stop here, and I leave you to think about these issues. I'll post this and post a question about Hamlet's readiness. I see the apt. Is Hamlet apt for the job? Is Hamlet saying, I was born to set it right, something accurate or inaccurate? Does it suit Hamlet or no? We'll see as things develop. And I want you to think of what happens next act. Don't answer me, but just think about it. Is Hamlet going the very next scene to kill his uncle to take revenge? Is he going to wait 2 scenes, 3 scenes? Is he going to plan? How is he going to do it? Because we've seen Hamlet didn't say, okay, tomorrow, now I'm going to kill the king. He said, I will pretend to be mad, to put an antic disposition. But why? Why pretend to be mad? Why don't you go and do the deed? Maybe he was not born to set it right. Maybe he can't set it right. Maybe nobody can set it right. Maybe Hamlet is not apt. I think the ghosts, I see the apt was ironic, especially after Hamlet said, as swift as meditation or thoughts of love. That's not the right answer to somebody asking you to take revenge, to kill. That's the answer when you tell somebody, calm down, take it easy, take your time, and then they say, okay. as swift as thoughts of meditation or thoughts of love. I'm taking my time. Okay.
Doctor, I just want to ask a question.
Mhm.
Did Shakespeare act any role in his plays in theater?
He did, yes, he did, but not
Which
there isn't a strong evidence what part he played in. I think some people say he played the ghost sometimes, but personally, I'm not sure. He didn't play Hamlet for sure. He played. He started his career as an actor. Don't forget this. He was an actor, and that's why he is an amazing dramatist and poet. He knows. He understands the theater itself. So I'm not sure whether he played the ghost in Hamlet or whether he played the ghost in another play. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and see you next week. يعطيكم العافية والسلام عليكم.